me that one of the saddest things I would ever have to do would be to have to tell my granddaughter about her mother, that her mother was an addict. And she tried very hard to get past this addiction, but was unable to, and died from it.
In 2017, we had just under 72,000 Americans die of drug overdoses.
Jay, look at me.
That's a phenomenal number. It's almost hard to imagine.
I have no idea.
It is the #1 public health challenge of our time.
Opioids are now the biggest drug epidemic in American history.
The number of deaths from opioid abuse have skyrocketed over the past 15 years, killing tens of thousands of Americans every year.
That's more deaths than from car accidents and from guns.
Emergency services overwhelmed. Another family burying a loved one.
She overdosed in her car while her 2-year-old daughter was in the back seat.
In certain age groups between 25 and 34 in the United States, 20% of all deaths are due to opioid overdoses. Of that 72,000, the majority are opioids, and the majority of the opioids are the synthetic products such as fentanyl.
Fentanyl is taking the opioid epidemic to a new level of urgency.
Fentanyl, a drug more powerful than heroin.
It's 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine.
Fentanyl, so potent you could die with the syringe still in your arm.
So potent, so incredibly potent that it only takes a few milligrams to cause a death. And now we see fentanyl lacing not only the heroin supply, but we see it in cocaine and methamphetamine and all sorts of drugs because it's dirt cheap. If heroin's the devil, to continue with the biblical analogy, I would say that fentanyl is a horseman of the apocalypse, and it's the one named death, because it just brings death.
Yeah, if you just go straight here, I'll show you some of the more affected areas.
Kensington is Philadelphia's ground zero for opioids, and it has just been declared a disaster zone. Dan's family has also battled with addiction. He now fights on behalf of those still struggling.
I mean, this becomes what the neighborhood is. I mean, you see, most people around here you're going to see are high. You know, so the neighborhood is almost entirely consistent of people who are abusing. You can't walk through this neighborhood without being offered drugs. It's hard to even recognize some of these people. It just seems like they're in a jungle. And they've lost a lot of their humanity down here. Heroin's been in Philadelphia for decades. This is not a new story. It's just that recently the death toll has gotten so out of hand, and the farther you look, the more you realize how truly desperate things have become. I believe in 2016 we had 272 homicides and over 900 overdose deaths. Last year we had around 300 homicides and 1,200 overdoses. So it went from being 3 times the murder rate to 4 times the murder rate in 1 year. If you look at the charts of what opioids are killing people or what drugs are killing people, in recent years, fentanyl has just taken off literally just like a rocket. But now, because of, you know, how deep some of these people are in the throes of addiction and how high their tolerance is, fentanyl has become introduced slowly into the mix so that people can get high again. Because what some people don't realize is that a lot of these people who are using drugs on a regular basis aren't necessarily using it to get high. They're using it to maintain their addiction, to make their headache go away, to sort of regulate. Any amount of fentanyl would kill most people who aren't addicted almost instantly. If it continues to get worse, like, where does it go from here?
I am a heroin user. I've been using heroin for about 20 years.
Alex is just one of the 70,000 active heroin users currently living in Philadelphia.
This ain't no life for nobody. I mean, this is like the bottom of the barrel right here. This ain't for nobody. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. I generally have to score about 6 times a day to keep myself well, just to be able to function, really. That's all it comes down to, is just to be able to function. I hope that it's fentanyl because I've been doing it for quite some time, and heroin that's actually heroin will not get me well. My body actually craves the fentanyl. It's a different high, it's a different feeling, and I'm not really sure what the difference is between the heroin and the fentanyl. I don't know. But it's what my body craves, and without it, I'll be just as sick as I am now. I feel like it's a waste of my life. And I got a lot of people in my corner who care about me, a lot of people in my, in my family that love and care about me and want to see me do well. And I'm not doing nothing except sticking a needle in my arm every day, all day long. Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of money. It's a fucking waste of everything. It's the waste.
In need of a place to sleep, Alex heads to an abandoned house that he and other addicts sometimes use to crash.
Not too bad.
It makes me do things that I normally wouldn't do. Lie. Manipulate. I've never been like the person to lie and tell stories and to, try and get over. I was not like that. But my addiction has definitely made me that way. It makes me feel alone. It makes me feel vulnerable. Makes me feel scared. It makes me feel unsure of what my purpose here is.
Manchester Fire Emergency.
Request for an ambulance in Manchester. It's the Shell gas station. The patient is in the bathroom. He is overdosed.
It's going to be for a female in her 20s. My caller states she went in to clean, found her overdosing in the bathtub. She is not conscious.
The caller states that she is overdosed. The patient's going to be just outside the church on the side.
Where are the people located?
So they're in the middle of the street. 2 people are overdosing.
For a male in his 50s, found not conscious, not breathing. There's a needle next to him.
35-year-old male. He is not conscious, not breathing, overdose.
I don't know what to do. I'm talking for a moment.
I don't know what's happening to this generation. I look out my window, I'm looking at ground zero for the United States for fentanyl, and fentanyl deaths. It's like, what the heck am I seeing?
Truck 1813 Delta is on. Outside of 340 Hanover Street. Put a man down, possible overdose.
We went from 20 overdoses to 80 overdoses in a matter of a month. They were like, what the hell happened here?
Well, one on there.
Why didn't it hit us? Because of synthetic heroin. It was fentanyl. We don't have a heroin problem, we have a fentanyl problem. And we really realized that back in 2015 when we got hit so hard. But we've been chasing it ever since, trying to get ahead of this. And it's really tough to get ahead of something like this.
Okay.
I talk to these guys all the time. I'm down here. I'm pretty invested in my personnel, and I worry about what they do. I go to a lot of the calls that they go on because I just want to see how they're, handling things and make sure that, I know there's going to be some compassion fatigue. It's really difficult to see this. I mean, when I grew up in the fire service, we never saw this much, death. He's not unconscious, but you don't really know, when he used, what's going to happen. They don't want to hit him with Narcan right away because if they do, he's going to be sick. Right now, they want to get him out as slowly as possible. So what they're going to probably do is we'll get him in the back of the ambulance, get him to the hospital, and monitor him, and probably give him some Narcan via IVs.
All right, Dalen. Probably should go to the hospital, get you checked out there.
I don't think I need to do off.
Yeah, you're not.
Dropped again. Nobody finds you. That's how people die.
Yeah.
We're not going to play that game. Right?
All right, give me your hand there. We'll take you. We're going to walk you back here. Yeah. This gentleman was seen on the sidewalk, unconscious, very limited breathing, and had just done heroin, as he reported. He was actually one of the honest ones, where he had admitted to doing it. Sometimes they come up and they don't admit to doing the heroin and or fentanyl. And this time he did, and we know we had to take him to the hospital to have him checked out and have him not lay down somewhere else where no one can find him and pass him away.
Go on calls like that in this neighborhood, and it's the aftermath of you ask them where the needle is. I threw it in the street. Okay, well now where is it? Who plays with it? Is it an adult that picks it up and throws it away, or is it a child that plays with it? Then it turns into, he said he did a half fentanyl, half heroin mixed in a bag. So the little baggie that he has, where's that? He probably threw it on the ground. A kid plays with that, sees it, is it candy, whatever. It's that whole, from my personal standpoint, it's frustrating because you see it all the time, every single day.
Since this crisis has hit, we go out on these types of calls over and over and over again all day long. So 10% of the overdoses that we get called to for an opiate results in death.
So how'd you make it over here? You just walked over? Yeah? Have you ever overdosed before? Hey, Doug, can you get up? Okay. You gotta. You can't stay here.
Dude, we were talking and having like a full conversation, and you just fell asleep like mid-conversation.
Douglas is obviously overdosing on opiates. He admitted to using fentanyl. So yeah, and this guy needs help. He needs somewhere to go. And you know, like I told him, it's like there's help for him. You know, but it's getting to these people. And you know, hey, I don't judge these people. You don't know where they came from. You don't know what kind of trauma was in their lives. So he needs help more than anything else. He's sick.